Is it over yet? What's going on, Birdland? Hey, Bob's here, and I'm sure as you already know, the Birds lost Game 1 against Seattle Mariners 13-1, and I guess it's safe to say that the old adage is true. If you look good, you play good, and if you look bad, well then you probably play bad. I guess that's how that would work. Anyway, I mean, it can't only be me. Forgive me. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but are the Orioles City Connect uniforms the worst things in baseball? Legitimate question. And it seems like every time they don those uniforms, they don't play Orioles baseball. I'm just saying. Don't hate me, just my opinion. But before we get into the game, if you're in the least bit interested in the opinions of this humble diehard Baltimore Orioles fan, I would like you to consider pressing that like button, sharing this video, and commenting on it. And subscribe, because I look forward to interacting with you guys. We got to stick together, all right? Birdland, Birdland, Birdland. So, in my humble opinion, the Baltimore Orioles played exactly how they looked, like trash. Like I said, don't hate me on that. But I'm actually trying to think of a time that they wore those jerseys and they actually played good baseball. Let me know down in the comments. Maybe there's a game that I'm forgetting about, but it seems like every time they wear those uniforms, it's just abysmal. And yesterday was by far the worst baseball game that they played all year. Coming back off a day of rest, if you will, at home, in front of that crowd, in front of those fans who, I think it was an hour and a half rain delay. So, was not a good night at all. Was not a good night at all. They were bad on offense and defense. So we'll start with the box score. Seattle Mariners, they scored 13 runs. 13. With 17 hits and 1 error. So they had 1 run in the second. Then they got Gibby for 4 in the third. And they tacked on another solo shot in the fourth. That wasn't a charge to Gibby. But then the floodwaters came in the seventh, or the eighth, when they dropped 7 on the O's. This is right after Santander hit that nuke. And you thought, okay, maybe they'll have a little Orioles magic in the end. The bats haven't been hot. Hits a blast. Well, into that bottom half, going to the top half of the eighth, and the floodwaters open. They dropped 7 on them, and that finalizes their 13 runs for the day. It was pretty tough to watch. So Gibby takes the L. He goes 3, gives up 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned. He did walk 3, and he K'd 4. It was a rough night for Gibson. That's not the Gibson that we've been seeing, and hopefully that's just a, one of those games where it's like, okay, it's bound to happen sometimes. Gillespie replaced Gibby. He went 2 innings. He did give up that home run in the fourth to Teoscar Hernandez. But all in all, you really can't complain how he pitched. And then I guess the one bright spot, excuse me while I get a sip of coffee, the one bright spot is Cionel Perez came in, and he went 2 innings. And he pitched some scoreless baseball. So he only gave up 1 hit, and he struck out 3. So it was good to see Cionel, pitch. There was no meaning behind it, but to go 2 innings after the Mariners had already bashed the O's, that was nice to see. And then after Cionel had done his job to keep the Orioles in comes Keegan Aiken. And Keegan Aiken's line, he went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 6 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, and a walk, no Ks. And then Brian Baker pitches a third, and he gives up 1 hit. So, man, just abysmal baseball. I mean, if that showing right there by Keegan doesn't get him back down, hey, we need some middle relief help. We really do. And I think that was pretty evident last night, given how, it just seems like the Birds, and Gibby had a bad night. But usually the starting pitching does its job to keep us in the game. And then you got the middle relief that comes in and they kind of just if we're up, they let the teams back in. If we're down, now we don't have a shot to get back in. And then you have the probably the greatest back end of a bullpen in baseball. But we have got to get some middle relief. So lone highlight, obviously Cianel Perez, but Santander hit a nuke in the 7th. And like I said, that was just before that Mariner barrage, the very next half inning. So, one of the things that I noticed is after the off day, coming from that 2-game set with Tampa Bay, from the get-go, and maybe it was the rain delay, I don't know, but it seemed like the Birds were lifeless. I mean, they didn't look like they had any energy, didn't really look like they wanted to be there, and, I haven't seen that a lot. And so hopefully that was just kind of, a one-day thing. Maybe coming back from Tampa Bay, having the off day, they were just sleeping, and hopefully this kind of jolts them up to get back to that old Orioles magic that we've been seeing all year. But they just did not look like they wanted to be there yesterday. So all that to say this, the Birds fall to 45-29. Tampa Bay beat the Royals, so that moves Baltimore to 5.5 games behind Tampa Bay, second place in the AL East. And we'll try to get things right today. Dean Kramer is going to take the hill. He'll try to right the ship at 4:05. First pitch against Bryce Miller, who's another good pitcher for the Mariners. So let's hope that they can show more life than they did in Game 1. And, like I said at the beginning, we'll end this with this. They got to get rid of those uniforms. I don't care who that offends. I don't care who that makes upset. The uniforms are terrible, and it seems like every time they wear them, they don't play good Orioles baseball. So you look good, you play good. And the Birds got some of the best uniforms in baseball. But then when you turn it all around, the same can be said. If you look bad, you play bad. Go Birds.